Hey everybody, Tony D, and I'm a little under the weather, so I will try to get through this. This is take 2 of this video, and I just got in a bit of a ramble and went off on a tangent and never came back. So I'm going to try to start again. All right, so why is Hollywood so weird? I've decided the thread of this. Hollywood is weird because actors tend to be weird, and creative people tend to be weird. Creative people tend to explore the unknown. That's part of their job. You know, if you're an actor, you got to do things with your voice and emotions and your mental state and your movement and the way you touch people. You got to explore those regions to get at performances that you want to do and explore those subtleties so your acting is that much more layered. Same thing with writers, only we tend to do it more mentally. You know, we explore things by reading books and meeting people and having like input to our brain, and then we sort of process that and try to come back with layers. That's part of the reason, you know, for writers, it's write what you know, because you'll be able to layer that with all sorts of great detail because you know it already. So the inspiration for this video was Gwyneth Paltrow came out with a candle called Smells Like My Vagina. She has a cosmetics company called Goop, and you can go there, goop.com, and see the candle, and it's just ridiculous in my view, and it smells like geraniums and a bunch of flowers, and she's a total weirdo for making this candle up in my view, and I think part of it is just to sell candles. It's already sold out. It was $75, by the way. Part of it is just to get attention. Actresses need attention, keep their name in the news so they can get work. And certainly if someone writes a movie with a entrepreneur of candles in the next couple of months, they'll be sure to pick up Gwyneth Paltrow and cast her in the role. But why do they do this? Why is Hollywood so weird? It's because, you know, actors act this way so often, it kind of rewires their brain to keep doing that, and they go too far. Now, obviously, Gwyneth Paltrow's, you know, misstep, if you even want to call it that, it's probably going to make her a lot of money, and it's no big deal. I mean, she's just being weird. But there have been other people in the Hollywood system who have done incredibly weird things, and you know, some of it's even illegal. It's part of the reason I think so many creative people took drugs and still kind of do. I think the trend of doing drugs and rock and roll and all that's kind of gone by the wayside. So it's not as cool and hip. It's more cool and hip to be super woke and super vegan and healthy, and so, you know, all the drugs and rock and roll, that's kind of gone by the wayside, you know, in favor of the wokeness. So the response to this will be the anti-wokeness, and that will be actors, comedians, and you already see it with the comedians because they tend to be ahead of the curve, being anti-woke, like Ricky Gervais and Dave Chappelle and Bill Burr. You know, it's just going to get more and more anti-woke, and the people who promoted this wokeness, this sort of haughty wokeness, not progressivism. And I understand that when I talk about wokeness, it's about these people who are self-righteous and think they're better than you and think they know better than you, and they just do all these things, say all these things, and feel perfectly fine to choose people according to their gender or race or whatever. And they have dug a hole for themselves. And because when Hollywood shifts again to more weirdness, the weirdness will be the least traveled path, which right now tends to be more right-wing stuff, for lack of a better term, more conservative views, more traditional views. So if you look at a guy like Chris Pratt, who's a little religious and more of a traditional guy, they go after him all the time. But he is going to be one of the stars in the future who sticks around because he's not woke. And that makes him unusual. And that makes him, you know, even though he might get blasted for it on a place like Twitter or even on the internet, you know, it keeps his name out there because they're constantly gunning for him. Now, for some people, they got gunned out of existence almost, like James Woods. You know, he was on Twitter and he had this huge following, and then they've demanded he apologize, and he refuses to. I don't know what he's doing now. I haven't seen anything, but it seems a shame. He had grown such a Twitter following for Twitter to just, you know, put a gun to his head. It seems unfair. But that's Twitter for you. It's pretty much a cesspool in my view. So I think the trend is going to be anti-woke, and I think the weirdness will continue to be something new. And that's also, too, why I think so many movies and TV shows, especially stuff built on previous franchises, comic books and whatnot, their first instinct in Hollywood is not to do the thing that the character's most known for. You know, I had that personal experience myself. I had some producers who wanted to do Superfrat as a movie, and their first instinct was to get rid of the frat. No lie. They still wanted to call it Superfrat, but it wasn't going to be a fraternity. So this is the kind of mentality. And unfortunately, as I said in my previous video, it's permeated the money class of Hollywood. The guys who should only be concerned about the money. They want to sit on the couch too and talk about their wonderful franchise and how they thought of this great idea and how they put nipples on the Batman costume or whatever. They don't belong there, Hollywood. No. If you're the money guy, stay behind the scenes where you belong. Stay in your lane. You're in control of the money. You're going to make tons of money, but you're not the famous one. So I really don't like it when I see producers who aren't talent or studio execs coming out talking about their projects. They shouldn't be doing that. They should be outsourcing that to their talent to talk about, because that's what they're good at. They should have a spokesperson or a spokes actor or actress to do the talking. This idea that, oh, everyone, hey, let's see what so-and-so, the studio head, is saying. Who cares? That person makes monetary decisions. That's not creative decisions. Their decision is, do we make a Hollywood blockbuster that costs $300 million, or do we make 5 smaller movies that cost $60 million? And that's a math score that, you know, that's a math calculation that I respect, but I cannot respect that same executive coming out and saying, well, you know, I really decided that, you know, the guys in Wayne's World would have no Garth this time around. I mean, I just made that up, but, you know, that to me is not a decision that a studio exec should be making. He should be hiring a writer or a director or both, and then saying, guys, give me a different take, or guys, give me something that I can sell. That's their job. You know, it's the job of the directors and writers to go, okay, this is what they want and this is what they'll finance, so let's come up with something within that box. And sadly, it's just not happening. You have the money people trying to make the creative decisions. The weirdos need to be actors and talent, not the studio execs. When you have weirdos as studio execs, they make weird decisions. And you have no further to look than what has become of the Star Wars franchise, the Star Trek franchise, the comic book industry. It's all been made super woke because the executives at the top have decided that that's the trend, and they should throw their hand in and get some virtue points too. I think all these people are going to go by the wayside, and they should. They've hurt their companies. They've lost a lot of money. They made some, but they've lost, I think, more than they've made in the long run. And they've hurt their brands. I mean, nothing's been more hurt in the past couple of years than the Star Wars brand, in my opinion. The Star Wars brand is absolute nothing now. You've got the Mandalorian, and that's about it. And that, to me, is a drop in the bucket compared to destroying a 30-year-old franchise like Star Wars. I think it really needs to be taken out of the hands of the people responsible. And, you know, I think it needs to sit on the shelf 20 years, too. So they can come back, remake it right, you know, when they finally do remake it. And they will. You know, just put people in charge who know their place. If you're a producer, you're a studio exec, your place is with the money. Get the money. Get the money and shut up. Don't go on talk shows. You don't belong there. Get your talent to go on talk shows. They're way better looking than you. They're well spoken, and you can tell them exactly what to say. So don't pretend like you need to be there. That's just your ego talking. And if we can get to that point back where there was a balance, when money people made the decisions based on their gut instinct and, you know, behind the scenes, and left the weirdness to the talent, I think the movie industry would be in a better position.